The Osiris myth, like Back to the Future, speaks of the interwoven lives of father and son. How father and son are in the end one and the same. In the Osiris myth, Osiris is twice murdered by Set and his co-conspirators. After Set's first attempt at getting rid of Osiris, the wife of Osiris, Isis, finds his body in a tree and magically nurses him back to life. After the second attempt, where now the body of Osiris has been dismembered, Isis puts Osiris back together in order to conceive their child Horus. Horus later grows up in the shadow of his defeated and castrated father. With the help of the moon god Thoth, Horus does battle with Set and eventually defeats him, to then become his own father, Osiris. And the story begins again, forever looping back on itself. The ancient Greeks and Romans equated the Egyptian god Horus with their gods of war, the Greek Eris and the Roman Mars. The Latin word Mars is actually where the name Mardi comes from. Mardi literally is Mars, the planet of aggression, war, ambition, and drive. Just like Eris and Horus, Mars is an archetype that's deeply connected to the sun. The sun that rises in the east and rides high across the sky during the day, and then sets in the west, where it begins its journey through the dark underworld. The ruler of the underworld to the ancient Romans was Pluto. The underworld's the world of the subconscious, the world of the underground, the world of the past, where the solar hero must go to do battle with the forces of evil, so that he could ultimately reconnect with his past, reconnect with the deeper roots of his own being. In the very ancient prehistoric Egyptian past, before Osiris became a solar god, Osiris was a lunar god, a god of the subconscious, symbolized in the movie by the oceanic god of the Greek subconscious, Poseidon. It would seem at first glance that Back to the Future is the story of the solar powers of the conscious mind overcoming the lunar powers of the subconscious mind. But really, the movie tells us that the solar must integrate the lunar as much as the lunar integrates the solar, so that they could basically become one and the same. This reciprocal process was known to the ancient mystery seekers as the alchemical marriage, where the conscious mind and the subconscious mind come together as one. In the present day of 1985, when the story begins, we find a solar extroverted Marty who's overcompensating for his weak father. As much as he seeks to escape his father's fate, his compensational surplus of power brings him nonetheless into reliving his father's patterns of self-sabotage. To break the pattern, he has to dive deep within his own lunar past, his own genetic self, deep into his own family tree, to face the demons that are being passed down through the bloodline. On the other side of the equation, we find the lunar being George, empowering himself by integrating Marty's solar energies. Never in the story, though, does George ever stop being lunar, or Marty ever stop being solar. Instead, both integrate each other's energies. Doc also learns to balance both the solar and lunar energies. Initially, Doc plays the role of Thoth, the Egyptian lunar god of science, mathematics, and writing, but ends up adopting the solar role of Hermes, the Greek god of science, mathematics, and writing, also known as the psychopomp, the messenger god who guides mortals into communication with higher truths. In the end, all three characters, Marty, George, and Doc, have each in their own way performed the sacred inner marriage of the sun and moon. Traditionally, in alchemy, the subconscious mind is equated to female energy, and the conscious mind to male energy. The coming together of both female and male creates the child, the symbol of the sun and moon, of the conscious and subconscious coming together as one, and now fully open and receptive to the rulership of the divine, with the potential to transcend into a much more evolved being. Like the solar Marty, powerful and charismatic, who transforms himself from a lustful teen into one that's much more seasoned, respectful, and mature. Or Doc, who's moved himself from a lunar being driving a lunar vehicle into a solar being driving a lunar vehicle. And of course we have the once overly passive and lunar George, who's learned how to gain true power through confidence, willpower, and a strong sense of self-respect, and who, like the archetypal father of the ancient Egyptian tradition, Osiris, with the help of his son Horus, has achieved individuation through the alchemical marriage.